Good afternoon on what is a mild, grey and overcast day. It is Friday the 11th of November and I'm in the reading nook with a nice cup of tea. And a parcel to our box. So I'm going to continue unboxing this one, which has a stack of these in. These are issues of Last Province, which was a Scottish role-playing magazine published in Edinburgh in 1992 through to 1993, and I've already looked at issue 1 and what am I doing? No, issue 1 and issue 2. So we come to issue 3 of The Last Province, which we've got Ruin, Retro Rabbits, Rugs, Rescue and a Ring, all the R's. Okay, so we open up and we've got that's here from KJC Games, and these are a couple of play by email games which are really quite popular during the 80s and early 90s. I don't know whether they're quite as popular now, but essentially they were a way to sort of like game online or game sort of like through the post before you really kind of got online gaming. And this is dates from December 1992, as you can see from the Last Province, The Last Word, which is the editorial. We get into verbatim, and that's covering all the news and forthcoming releases from the period. And then we have Rites of Passage, which is the newsletter page. Letter page. Essentially, because obviously, one of the great things about magazines is that they have a lively discussion going on about issues in gaming, contents of previous issues, and so on. And they just sort of discuss points raised in other letters, and with the editorial stuff. We get to Pandora's Box, which is really how we, sections like this, which is a bit like Open Box for White Dogs, is how we found out about new and forthcoming role-playing games. We read reviews, and here we have reviews of two not dissimilar games of, worlds, role-playing games set on alien worlds, sort of like that, not quite the near future or the past and so on. So they're sort of science fiction games, but not. And I'm being visited by a cat who's not ours, who's decided to sit on the box where I don't want him to sit. Do you want to sit on my lap? Come on. Yes. Sorry about that, but I really don't want him sitting on the books. And he's going to want to fuss as well. So we've got a review of the Archon Codex for the setting of Telezanta, which was always promised as the setting with no elves, but seemed to have a lot of character types with pointy ears. But also for Jeroen, this would have been the 3rd edition, published by Chessex, but really put together under its editorial control by the late Joseph Adams, whom died I think last year, and we kind of miss him. He was a strong voice for the Jeroen setting, and it doesn't have that anymore. Okay, but we've got reviews of, basically more landmark products from the period, which are Vampire the Masquerade, followed by Rites of Passage, but also from interesting here, we have reviews of River of Cradles, Lands of Peoples of Pavis and the Zolafel Library, and also of King Asata, The Mystery of Argrath, How One Man Became a God. So that is basic RuneQuest reviews, and then at OHMU War Machine, or oversized heavy mechanized units, because the magazine would also review War Games reviews, War Games rules. Already did Cryomech in an earlier issue, and that was OHMU War Machine was sort of like another sort of like a potential contender against the heavyweight that was Warhammer 40k. Again, like Cryomech, and it's sort of like you found a bit of a fan base, but probably not played today, and, you know, except by the occasional devotees, or that well-known Player's Guide to the Sabbat review. Once we've got review Battle Lust. Again, this is a skirmish rules but fantasy. The GURPS Espionage supplement, which surprisingly, unlike the GURPS Cyberpunk supplement, didn't get the CIA coming around to basically do a raid on them. And not Corpse GM screen review as well. And then we've got Chromebook 2 and Rolemaster Companion 6. Chromebook was basically the equipment book for series of equipment books for Cyberpunk 2020. And then we have 10 ways to destroy your game, basically a guide on how not to run a campaign, how to be a better GM by not committing those mistakes, such as lying to your players, penalising role-playing, cheating, rewards, and so on, favouritism. And then we have an advert for Nightfall Games, really prefiguring the release of Slay Industries, competitions, adverts, another advert for Slay Industries or for Nightfall Games. Oh, he's finally settling down. Day of Disaster. Essentially, this is how to write rescue and disaster scenarios for your science fiction games. Of course, heavily kind of influenced by Thunderbirds, because that was all what Thunderbirds was all about. And we have The Tears of the Gods, The Voyage of a Hero, a fantasy scenario for GURPS. But again, probably easily adaptable to the system of your choice, because there aren't a lot of stats in here until the very end. So that's more stats, and then we have the player handout section. And one of the features of Last Province, essentially, it would differentiate the handouts, even though they were black and white. It would, you know, put them at the centre where you, as the game master, could easily get them, pull them out if necessary. And then Back to the Future. Again, I was looking at changing from fantasy role-playing games to science fiction role-playing games, whether that's Traveller or Cyberpunk, and so on. And we have a convention report from GaleCon 92. That's just happened, actually. Not GaleCon 92, but GaleCon itself, GaleCon 2022. We've got and then we've got basically like a seed or scenario idea for a fantasy campaign. We have basically advert for My Star Rising, basically near future flooded Britain Sinex, sort of like science fiction novel by Peter Hamilton. He's written other bigger science fiction novels since. Things like Neutronium Alchemist, Reality Dysfunction, and so on. Fahrenheit 451, which is the book review section. Again, quite lengthy. It's 3 pages. Revenants, looking at older role-playing games, and presumably this time it's Bunnies and Burrows. Oh, excuse me, because you've got rabbits in there. And then Spines is looking at particular types of novels, the genres. So here it's the works of M.I. James. And Pillars of Thunder is a skirmish battle. Again, this is supporting the war games aspect of the magazine. Not too heavily, but it's there. Nice illustrated too. Full stats. as well. I'm not sure what system it's for. This is Cryomech. And just wondering what this article is called, because Stateside. This is news from Stateside, including an update of the then recent news that Steve Jackson Games have been raided by the Secret Service. Game is cartoon strip, adverts. So what you've got, the interesting ones in here, you look back at these and sort of like, what, for leisure games back then, not long opened, and then second-hand games galore. Some people will remember that as a major source of second-hand role-playing games. I certainly used that. Essentially sort of like an idea of how to use mutants and so on in your campaign by Marcus R. Rowland. Flash in the pan, looking at miniatures. Vignettes, short scenario ideas, and then we have the final section, which is NPCs you can add to your game. Just add stats, you know, you've got thumbnail illustrations, nice descriptions, feedback and basic classifieds at the back. And these are always interesting to see, just to sort of like capture sort of like a little bit of the hobby, you know, how it was expressed by some people, so people were looking for that sort of thing back in the day. Anyway, because that was sort of like the main contact, because it's all through via post. So that's Last Province Volume 3. Oh, the advert on the back, I've got an advert for Cyber Generation, which was the next sort of like next iteration of cyberpunk in its history, looking at how sort of like the youths of sort of like the future would be affected by nanoware and the like. So yes, Last Province issue 3, published in 1992. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you wanted to be alerted to yet more unboxings out here in the Nook, where you'll see me with a package containing a magazine or a book or a game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do hit that subscribe button down below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. We'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.